Hey everyone! Yesterday I finished my sketchbook and now it's time for a sketchbook tour. First, the cover. I blend in all the names I know from the artists from the stickers. So you know, a few of them I can't remember and I don't know, like from this big sticker I really love their artwork. I have no idea who made this. I bought it in a little shop here in town. And the first page. I started the sketchbook almost a year ago, September 2025. Now it's August 2026. And I really loved it. This is the Strathmore Mixed Media Sketchbook. It has 190 GSM cotton paper and I really loved it. I will definitely buy this again if I need a new sketchbook. Right now I have so many sketchbooks here, empty sketchbooks, and I have to decide which one I will use next. I guess this will be the next video, starting a new sketchbook, so keep your eyes open for this. The only thing about the sketchbook is, I think I said this a few times now, is the soft cover, because the first pages and the last pages are a bit strange to work on. You can lay something underneath and then it's no problem, but I prefer hardcover sketchbooks. But I really love the size, and the hardcover sketchbooks from Strathmore, the mixed media ones, are a bit smaller than this one, and I like this size a lot more. This size was almost perfect. I really like to work bigger. Sometimes it was too small for me, so we will see what comes next. Here I worked with, I guess, watercolor and colored pencils. This is also a video how I started and decorated the cover and started the sketchbook. Also here we have a few stickers and a little pocket for things. I haven't used all the things I wanted here to use. And also here the stickers, I will tell you all the names of the artists which I know, so they will be named here, like Vivi Gonzalez. Second page. Yeah, sometimes I really need to let go something, and this is how this came to life. I used only colored pencils and a black marker for this. This is a technique I really love to do. I prepare my pages with backgrounds with watercolor, and then I'm looking what I can see here and draw it on top or paint it on top with colored pencils, with watercolor, with markers. Like here I drew on top with markers and used a few colored pencils. And here I had this eel in my mind the whole time, and I had to draw it. This I also started with only watercolor, and then I used colored pencils on top. Oh, I remember this was a video where I tested creative techniques to overcome art block. And first I tested these two, and I had not a lot of fun with these two. And then I tested the Gouache technique, and this was also a video. This was cool. So blobs, and I thought, what could I draw on these blobs? And I think I wanted to draw only bunnies, and I used a black marker for this. And for the blobs I used Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s and used water. They are water soluble, and here I used watercolor and a black liner pen. And sometimes I don't have any idea what to draw or to paint, and then but I really badly want to paint, and then I use my reference books. I have a lot of vintage nature books with plants and animal illustrations, and they are so beautiful. And then I'm looking for animals or plants which inspire me, and then I fill a spread with them. They're not exactly like in the book. I let them grow onto my page if it's a plant. I enjoyed this spread a lot, I remember, and this is painted with the Kuretake Gansai paints. I really love to use them. They're a little bit opaque watercolors, Japanese watercolors, and on top I used colored pencils. Here I tested a few new paints. I tested the Le Front Bourgeois Flash Vinyl paints. I really wanted to try them out. They are like acrylic paints, but they are matte. And I don't know what's the difference between these paints and acrylic gouache. If you know, please tell me. I think it's something, it has to do something with the things are in the paints, but they feel kind of the same. And then I tested these paints. I only got 3 of them: Prussian blue, a red ochre, and a steel de grain, like green gold. And I also got a set of the Holbein Irodori gouache. My first Holbein gouache, and I love them. Holbein gouaches are so nice, and they also granulate. Perhaps you can see this in the brown tones. And I love this green. This is the winter set, and I swatched them on here. I used them for various things, and I made a little gouache palette for myself with these Holbein paints and also my Mijello gouache paints. And I love to use gouache since then. And perhaps I need more of these sets, but I don't know. And then here, sometimes you have to paint what you feel, and I painted this with watercolor and finished it with colored pencils. This was also a video. I tested acrylic markers. I don't know which one these were from Artex. I guess the liquid ones. I love them all. I love the Artex acrylic markers with the brush tip. They are all awesome, and I love to work with them, and yeah, I love to use them. And I really like this fish. The fish I also had from a reference vintage animal book, nature book, and I really love how it turned out. And I also love the clover. I love clover in general, so I really think it's cute, the cute creature here. And I finished it with colored pencils, because you can work with colored pencils on top these acrylic markers. They dry matte, and it's easy to work on top with other things. And here I got new paints from Jackman Art Materials. I was influenced by Natasha Newton and ordered a few colors, and I think I have to order a few more. These are the paints, these are the colors I have, only a few. I tested it for myself, not in front of the camera, and I made this technique again where I make blobs of color and create a background, and then I looking for something I can see in the blobs and in the shapes, and then I only draw what I see. And I used here a bit of white gouache as well in these panels, and also colored pencils. I really love this one. It was so cute and it was so good to see exactly this in the blobs. And here I use gouache, a dried gouache palette which I built to make it easy to use gouache. For me, it's easier to have them in a palette, dried gouache, then I can use it every time I want and I don't have to handle with tubes and don't need a palette and stuff like this. I can take it everywhere with me and paint everywhere with gouache. And I guess the mushrooms and the violas I found in a reference book. I got inspiration from this old vintage book and I painted characters like family portraits, like their old photographs in the frames, you know, and they hang on the wall. And they belong to the same family. And this one is Copri. I think the name has to do with the name of the mushrooms. I can't remember. And Viola is obvious. I really love this one. This is available as a printable download on my Patreon. Here I again tested new acrylic markers from Artex. Another set. These acrylic markers are fun and I love to work with them. So I painted this. Something funny, happy little creatures. Here, same again. Sometimes I really want to paint and I don't have enough time to paint the whole page and I don't want to use my brain, so I create little backgrounds with watercolor, and this is what I did here. And then I come back and only paint one on a day or sometimes two. This depends on the time I have, and like little exercises for every day. And if you don't have enough time, I can recommend this to just throw color on your paper in little panels, and then if it's dry, prepare your pages. And if you have time, only a little bit time, 20 minutes perhaps or 15 minutes, then come back, look what you see in the blobs or in your backgrounds, and then just start. It don't have to be something very good, like here I've seen these fish creature things in there, so I drew them. And yeah, it's an easy way to get creative very fast and it needs not a lot of time. This was also a video, and again I had not really an idea what I can draw, so I started with this plant, and I got the inspiration from one of my vintage books, and then I just let it flow. And I really like this spread. It's a good one. And here I outlined this creature with a yellow acrylic marker, and I really like this, and I did this again afterwards because I love this so much. So you come up with new ideas if you experiment with things. This was the video where I picked only five of my art supplies if I had to decide. And this was a little artwork I created on the way to demonstrate which art supplies I love. But this was to this point in time, and I don't know if it could change every year. I'm sure it will change here and there. You can watch this video if you like. I think it was a good one. This page, I think this is one of my least favorites of this sketchbook. I really had no idea, but I wanted to draw, and this is very often the thing. I really want to paint, I really want to draw, and I have no ideas, and then I looking for inspiration and I try to do something, and I tried really hard here. It's a nice spread. Yeah, I'm not very happy with it, but it's okay. It fills the spread, and there's color and contrast, and this is also a video, and I came in my flow then in the end, but I don't know. I don't feel it. Yeah. Perhaps you know what I mean. Sometimes you don't feel it. This was also from a reference book, a motif from a reference book I have. I like to draw it, and I just want to do it very quick sketches, and I sketched this with a multicolor sketching pencil here from Koh-i-Noor, and went over it with a black fine liner, and then I used some watercolor. This was for the Spring Flush Challenge. Every year I try to do the Spring Flush Challenge for my patrons. I create a little prompt list, which I placed here on the computer then afterwards. This is only the background for the prompt list, and this is the art piece for the Spring Flush Challenge. And I don't know why, but I never make it to paint all the things on my own prompt list for the Spring Flush Challenge. Perhaps I shouldn't do this again. Perhaps I should concentrate on Inktober and make an Inktober list. Last year I didn't do this. I didn't make my own Inktober list, which was very sad. Perhaps I will do this October again. This would be nice, and I share this on my Patreon, share this on my Instagram, like the Spring Flush Challenge, and I skipped the Spring Flush Challenge. I don't know. Perhaps only one prompt a week in month of April. I always make it on April or May. I can't remember right now. Yeah, but this was fun, and I made a few things, and I think it's really cute. I have a reference book with bird skeletons, and I love this reference. And this is in German, it's called the Eulenschwalm. I don't know how it's called in English. Perhaps I blended in the name. And this bird is so cute and so cool, and I really love it and catched me somehow. I really like this bird. And this is the skeleton of this bird. And this in the background is the Latin name somehow. And I like this page. And also from reference books, vintage reference books, I sketched these plants. This was for the Spring Flush Challenge, and I was out of inspiration, and I always painted the same. Some kind of creatures where something's growing out of it, and I was so bored from it. And I looked for a new spark in my creativity. I was really blocked to this time, and I guess this was May. Oh, and I made the 100-day challenge to this time, and I made it to 60 days. And in this time, here it was day 51 and 52. And in this time, I came up with so much new ideas. And also it came to my mind that not everything has to be perfect. You can find your creativity in things you wouldn't expect, and try out new things is always a good idea, no matter how the result is in the end. And this is what I found out for me, and which is so true. And yeah, and it helped me a lot. And here I met with a few people. We get creative once a month, and I tried collaging I used things out of magazines and glued it in, also the text things, and painted a butterfly or a moth on top with all different medias, all kind of medias. I used here crayons, watercolor, I don't know, markers, a lot of stuff. And this was also a video, and like always in the last few weeks, months, I had no idea how to start, so I started with references, with my reference books, and then I created this woman, and this was a lot of fun. I had so much fun with these pages. I used watercolor and colored pencils. Let me see, was this the... I tested the Wuma colored pencils in this video. And the Wuma colored pencils I really like. I haven't expected this, that they are so good. And I used it on top of watercolor, and this flower is only colored pencils. And then I met a few people, we were creative, and I portraited them and chatted a lot, and meanwhile I portraited them in the time we had there. And here I met a good friend, and we paint together a lot, and she also have a lot of reference books, vintage books, and this was from a vintage child book, a Danish from Denmark. And these illustrators made such cool artworks, and I really loved it. You can find a lot more also pages of the book on my Patreon. I shared this with my Patreons, a bit more of this book, and yeah, what I thought, and I love the illustration style, so I used this as reference. I painted this with watercolor and I guess watercolor backgrounds, and then perhaps gouache. Perhaps I use gouache, I guess. This is gouache with colored pencils on top. And a black liner. I like this page. Also this one, this is gouache. I painted it with gouache, and also a black liner and colored pencils. I really like the colors I used here. I really like this very nice, beautiful bluish turquoise in combination with the greenish yellow. I really like it, how it came out. And here I tested a new technique, which I shared with you in a video. I love this so much. It sparked so much inspiration and creativity for me, for myself. Just do blobs with watercolor, with some liquid color you have, and blow it around with your mouth or a straw, and then look what's inside this blob, and just take a fine liner and draw in what you see. Doodle, draw shapes which you see. They don't have to make any sense, just for relaxing and having fun. This was the point where I felt not blocked anymore. Okay, before I had some light moments in my art, but here I really felt I'm not blocked anymore, and it will be better soon. So this again, I used watercolor and splattered it on the paper and blew it around for these splashes. This is a lot of fun for itself to do this and then go on top with something else. It's so much fun. I think this was the most healing thing and creative thing I did in the last months. And then here, this was the video. I wanted to share this technique with you because I was so happy with it and I felt so inspired and I wanted to share it. And so I made this video. Same thing, colors on paper, blow it around, look for what's in there, what you can see in there, use a fine liner and get started with it. No matter how it looks in the end, the result is not as important as the fun and the relaxation and the good creative feeling in yourself while you're doing this. And then I was in my holiday in Denmark. And I did it again, because why not? So some blobs and splashes, and I went on top again with a black marker. Here I used a fine water-based blue-greenish marker, and I really liked the variation that, yeah, I used other things and colored pencils here and stuff. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. This was also a video where I tried something else to let the paint flow down the paper, and I really loved it. I loved everything about this spread. It was so much fun, and then I glued these blossoms on top. These are pressed flowers from Hydrogenia, I don't know how this is called right now. And yeah, I love the spread and it was so much fun to do it. And here is the outline again with the acrylic marker. I think it fits so well. And I will do this again. And this brought me to another idea, which you can see on one of the next pages. Yeah, I know, this is very, very crazy for the eyes. I wanted to try something out, and first I sketched the skull, and then I sketched kind of simple plant things growing out of that. And then I wanted to try to make this pattern, like lines around it, like what your brain is doing with the information of these pink lines. And I really like it. I like the effect, and it's very simple. That didn't cost me a lot of time, and I just sketched it, and it's not made perfect, but the vibe and the outcome is so cool. I have to do this again. And then again, I did it again. I made blobs. These were blobs I made and posted it on Instagram, in my Instagram story. Only the colored blobs. And I asked, what should I draw here? What can you see in the blobs? And there were some very cool ideas, and then I drew on top with markers and colored pencils and stuff, also with watercolors in this case. And then I posted it on my story again and showed the result, and this was so much fun that I did this again on the next day and made a blob and asked, what can you see in this blob? And then this came to life, and I really like them. I really like them both. I can do this every day. for real, and there are so much new ideas, and I really like parts of this one so much that I think about the bigger painting with elements of this. Next is this one. This was not very easy to do. I used fern, and first I made a background and then I used fern on top. I had to press the fern because of plants are never flat, so I had to get it flat and I had to glue it down with something, and it was very complicated in the end. The process was not easy. And then when the background with the fern was done, I painted something on top, and this was fun, but to be honest, it was so complicated to make this idea work that I lost a bit the motivation to work on it afterwards. But I don't know yet if this will be a video for YouTube or my patrons. So I'm filming everything in one go, and then I will edit both videos in the next day, so I can't say which video will come first, or perhaps the sketchbook tour, perhaps the last spread here, or the last spread is for Patreon. I'm not sure yet. I have to see how far I come with editing. And now the last page. Yesterday in the evening I filled the last page. Yeah, and I like to end my sketchbooks with something, yeah, that it will be continued. This is really colorful and this makes me happy, and yeah, this was the sketchbook tour. I hope you enjoyed the sketchbook tour. Here are more stickers from the Wild Pencil, and I don't know which artists made these. This is also from the Wild Pencil, I guess, and this is from Vivi Gonzalez. I hope you enjoyed the tour. If you liked the tour, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. This is a big support for this channel. Thank you so much. And then have an awesome week, my friends. We will see you next time in the next video. Then enjoy yourself, stay creative. Bye.